What's crack, it's VangelinaSkov, and today we're going to be talking about Gabbie Hanna, but not exactly in the way that you would expect from me. So as you probably know, my last video I talked about my opinions on all the YouTubers that I have covered, except for a couple because I just forgot to mention them. Sorry about that. But one of the people I talked about was Gabbie Hanna, and I said if she could not come back until after I've put out this video, so people don't think I'm just putting it out because she came back, her with Shane Dawson and Dissociated as well, then that would be great. But I said this not realizing that she had already come back and was already on YouTube and social media again. Oops. So obviously everybody was telling me that she's already back, she's already made a video, and that I should talk about it. So in today's video, I'm going to be saying a little bit about what she had to say in her coming back video, and I'm also going to be sharing my opinion with you about what she had to say. So big opinion warning for this entire video. This is just my thoughts on the matter. But before we get into any of that, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload, and if you would like to, you can also check out the memberships with the little join button right beside the subscribe button. And another side note before we start, in yesterday's live stream, you guys decided to name yourselves. To name the fandom, that's what people were calling it. So for those of you who missed the stream, you are now called crackheads. I did not come up with the name. I take no responsibility for any of this, but that's what you're called. Crackheads, spelt the Irish way, C-R-A-I-C, heads. I feel like there's already a YouTuber probably who's done that because there are a lot of Irish YouTubers. So if somebody's already done that, I'm sorry. But again, I take no accountability for this whatsoever. Anyway, on to the actual video. Now, I am a little bit late talking about Gabbie Hanna's new video. Firstly, because I didn't know about it, and then secondly, when I did find out about it, I kept putting off watching it because it was 46 minutes long, and I have the attention span of a teaspoon. But I finally did get around to watching it, and before I talk about what I have to say about it, it is no secret that I've not been very nice to Gabbie Hanna in the past. I mean, she doesn't know who I am, so I guess in a way it's kind of alright, maybe. But you guys know that I have been not the nicest about her in the past, so obviously I went into this video completely assuming that I was gonna just think she is full of crap, what a liar, what a manipulator, let's make a mean video about this. But I'm gonna be honest, that's not what I thought watching it. Now, I'm not gonna go into every single point that she made because there was a lot of points, and I'm not gonna rehash everything she said because then this will also be a 46-minute video, and in that case you could just watch hers. But one of the first things she talks about is obviously the fact that she left the internet and disappeared. And she talks about how people were making jokes that she was losing her mind, that she was going insane, but she says that she actually felt like she was. And that we saw the absolute worst of her just before she left, and that she was just at breaking point. Which I'm glad that she can recognize that that was not normal behavior. But she also goes on to say that there was a lot of stuff piling on for years before this that got her to this point. And one of these things that she mentions is an old friend group that she was a part of. And she claims that these friendships were abusive. And she admits that after all of that, she became obsessed with trying to distance herself from these people. And that by becoming so obsessed with it, she became what she hates about YouTube. Calling people out, showing receipts, all those things. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go too much into detail about everything she said involving these old friends, because if you want to hear all that, you can just watch her video. But I do want to say that I'm glad that she's recognized that what she was doing just before her break from the internet was not okay. The calling people out constantly bringing up receipts and messages all the time. And it seems like now she recognizes that this just was not okay, and in fact doesn't even like herself for doing it. And if she's being genuine, then she's obviously trying to grow from what she has done in the past, even if it is the very near past. I was going to say distant, but that is the opposite of what I was trying to say. And who are we to tell somebody that they can't grow? On the topic of receipts and calling people out as well, she also mentions the infamous podcast episode where she just loses it entirely. You may know it from the "these are high school bullies" meme, but she did say after they had recorded that, she watched it back and said that she looked psycho. But the manager, the producer of the podcast, said that he didn't think she did, and so they ended up airing it anyway. Although it's pretty clear that she does still think that she handled that entire situation very poorly, which I think we can all agree on a little bit, maybe. Now she goes on as well to talk a little bit about this old friend group and things that they had been doing to harass her and her fans. And when she was saying this, I genuinely felt really bad for her. Like I said she'd been trying to distance herself from them, but they were joining her Patreon under fake names and joining her Discord and harassing her fans, not just her. And apparently they even blackmailed some of the fans as well, which, if all of that is true, is horrible, horrible behavior. Just truly disgusting. And again, if it did happen, I can't imagine how stressful that must have been for her. Because honestly, if I had something like that going on as well, I would probably have a very public mental breakdown. But in regards to all of that happening, she did have a lawsuit going on a couple of months back. And this was against these old friends. She says that she stopped it for a bit because she wasn't sure about it, but then with everything going on, she picked it up again. And according to her story, her litigator said that she did have a possible lawsuit, she did have a case, but asked her if she wanted one because it could be 2 to 3 years of her life spent on this lawsuit. And Gabbie says she doesn't want that, she didn't want that, and just stopped it. Because according to her, she realized that this whole thing was about her ego and pride and winning against these people. But by doing all of this, everybody would be losing. She would lose years of her life to this when she could have just been doing her own thing, having a good time and forgetting about these people. And honestly, I think the fact that she can see that shows tremendous growth on her part. Because one of my biggest problems with Gabbie has always been that she needed to win. She needed to be the biggest voice. She needed to be right. And I constantly, probably a bit too much, constantly talked about her ego problem. So hearing her say that she can see that what she was doing was all just about her ego and winning, and that she doesn't want to do that anymore, is honestly just great. And if everything she's saying is true, I'm really happy for her. I'm not going to go too much into what she said about fearing for her life, because to be honest, I found it a little bit hard to follow, and it's all sort of hearsay for now. We're just taking her word on what happened. But she said she'd been getting death threats constantly, which is very common for people in the public eye, for YouTubers, anybody like that. And said that she'd had lots of sort of scary things happening, like her home system was hacked, and something about a man in a car outside her house who was using a laptop and what she described as spy equipment. I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't know what that's about. But I do understand the paranoia aspect of all of this. And although I didn't really follow exactly everything she was saying about fearing for her life, I could empathize with her. And this was the part that made me just sort of think a little bit about my opinions of her, because I, like so many other people, had been saying she's just ridiculous, she's making stuff up, and she's absolutely delusional. Personally, I have had times where I have feared for my own life in a very similar sort of paranoid sense. I'm not going to say who it was, but I had somebody in my life years ago, who lives in a different country, in a different place entirely, where I never go. And things did not end well between us, and in recent months they have been trying to contact me, and as a result of that, I've genuinely been scared that somebody's going to kill me. And whether that is completely paranoid or not, the emotions are still there. And I think it is the same for Gabbie. Whether what she's thinking is reasonable or not, she's genuinely scared. And somebody who's always talking about mental health, and it's not about what's happening, it's about how it makes you feel. If she feels scared, then she feels scared. And according to her, she is going to therapy. So if this is just pure paranoia, she's going to work on that with her therapist. And hopefully it'll get better for her and it'll get easier for her. But again, if that's the way that all of this is making her feel, then that's understandable. Especially considering she probably does get daily death threats. I get death threats sometimes and I'm absolutely nobody. It's just a very common thing on the internet, and especially because a lot of people really hate her, it makes sense. And seeing that every day would definitely add to the paranoia and the fear that somebody is going to hurt you. So yeah, I'm going to come out and say it was a little bit hypocritical of me before to say that her saying that she feared for her life and all that was just being delusional, because I felt the same way and I understand those feelings. And I'm going to repeat it because I think it's important. Whether this is just pure paranoia or actual danger, it doesn't matter. She still feels scared. and that's valid. Anyway, moving on from that, another thing she brings up obviously during her coming back video is the shadow ban, which when she explained it a little bit, I don't think that she's using that word correctly, but I understand a little bit better now what she means, and I was really trying to listen to it and follow the story. So she says that back in April of 2018, her channel was restricted. It was deemed not safe for work, not safe for children, so anybody who wasn't over the age of 18 couldn't watch her videos, and her videos could not be watched in public spaces like offices or libraries or things like that. And as well as that, it was also deemed not advertiser friendly, which means she wasn't making money from her videos. So because of all of this, her videos weren't getting shown to people. But her main problem with this was because of when all of this happened and when it got restricted. She said that before it had been restricted, she'd been talking about very adult topics, but afterwards she had stopped. But her channel wasn't restricted until she became a little bit more controversial. Everybody was talking about her, calling her a scam artist and things like that. So in her views, YouTube unfairly and purposefully restricted her account because of this controversy. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea. She's apparently been talking to people at YouTube and trying to sort it out. She talked about something to do with statistics or something I didn't really understand. So in all of that, I don't know. But if her channel was restricted and there were no ads on all of that, that's a pretty difficult thing to deal with. Was it done on purpose by YouTube because she was controversial at the time? I have no idea. Anyway, the very, very last thing that I want to touch on before we go is something she said towards the end of her video. She said she wanted people to give her a chance and to try and see her for who she is and not what people say about her. Which, you know what, I think is a very fair thing to ask. And I'm gonna say honestly, she's done a lot of other things that I still do not agree with and I still think were wrong and not okay. And I would like her to talk about them. I don't know if she will, but I would like her to. But I am not against somebody trying to grow. And I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I want to say that she's working on things and trying to improve and trying to get better. So on that front, I am going to give her a chance. And maybe she will prove that I was right in the first place and she's not a great person, or maybe she'll prove that she's just fine. I don't know. To be honest, I'm probably still not going to watch her videos because they don't really interest me. They're not the kind of videos that I watch. But I'm going to do my best to be a little bit more open-minded when it comes to her. And again, maybe she'll prove me right, maybe she'll prove me wrong, who knows. But, you know, there are still things that she's done that I can't really forgive. But I would like to believe, at least, that she's trying to move past that and be a better person. Because like I've said in like a billion videos, I've done terrible, terrible things in the past, and I've grown, and I'm a much better person now. So I'm very thankful to the people in my life who have given me the chance to change and to grow and to acknowledge that I'm not that person and I'm not those things that I did. And I think everybody deserves that chance. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me for now. So let me know in the comments what you think about Gabbie's return to YouTube and social media. Are you planning to give her a chance too, or do you think she just can't change? And if you don't feel like commenting that, then let me know if you have or want any tattoos, because comments help my engagement. Anyway, as I said at the start of the video, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload, and if you want to, you can also check out the memberships or the Patreon with the links in the description. And you can also follow me on social media. Like, comment, share, and do all the things that I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of a video, and have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.